Joe, he said, Joel Klatt, who is a part of Fox and the big noon kickoff, said this past week on Colin Cowherd's The Herd that Colorado could be potentially a playoff team. Could you simp more for your team? Could you simp more for any other team? Look, I do. Look, I like Joe Klatt a lot. I think a lot of the things he says about expansion and this and that, I think he's a doofus. Okay, but I like him. His breakdowns of college football and teams, Joe, he's actually really good. Now, the South doesn't like him because he doesn't cover them, and he shades them a lot in the top 10. Like last year, he said Alabama had no business being in the playoff. He said that they get curb stomped by Georgia. They win. I mean, look, he has favored himself. Like 2 years ago, he picked Ohio State to beat Georgia. Of course he did. This one's going over the top because this past week he said that Colorado is a playoff team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Joe Klatt too. I think that he's a good color commentator. He's a good college football analyst, but this is a ridiculous statement for him to say that he thinks that they're on the radar of making the playoff. I listened to the full segment, and I understand that this show, the lines of our fandom can be blurred. I think that we're also pretty realistic of our expectations for our teams. And we both support programs, me being Notre Dame, you being LSU. For anyone who's new, the hat is not, this is not mine. It's because of a bet.
You're going to keep saying that because you got roasted about it so long ago.
Well, I got to clarify for anyone who's confused why I'm wearing the damn hat. At the very least, though, those programs are still in the conversation. I think that we have constantly allowed the hype machine to roll with Colorado, and it goes too far sometimes. I understand that Klatt, one, is an alum and played for the football program, and it also benefits him to keep talking about them and to keep talking about them positively. It is one of the programs that isn't getting really a lot of positive coverage at the moment, and we've been pretty negative about them. To say that they're going to improve after everything that they've been through is totally reasonable. A bowl game is realistic. 6 wins in a bowl game would be a huge accomplishment for Colorado. But if you say that, Colorado fans say that you're a piece of shit. And here we are, a playoff. You can't tell me that there aren't 25 teams in college football that are better than Colorado right now. There are so many more fitting teams.
I don't need to do 25. I need to do 12.
Well, I'm trying to paint the picture here that there's a lot more than just 12 that are going to be competing for them. As I said in the open,
I think that there's 12 SEC teams better than them. I think there's 12 maybe Big Ten teams better than them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. As I said in the open, though, just to close this thought out, I just don't. He stated that they could go 9-3 and go to the playoff. That implies 9-3 and they win the Big 12. There are too many good teams in an expanded conference this year for them to go 9-3, go to the championship, win the championship game, and go to the playoff. Even if they're 9-3 and go to the championship game, that that would require a lot of extra help. They would need to have a really goddamn good resume, and they just do not have the games in the schedule to do it.
The issue I have is they were dead last in the country in defense. And I'm not making that up. Statistically speaking, they were dead last. They were dead last in passing. They were horrible in total defense, rush yards per game. I know that they went a lot into the portal. There are 3 things to that question. Number one, have they even come close, remotely close to being better defensively, if I'm just going to talk about them as a team? Number 2, and I think the biggest question is, I do think Deion cares. Deep down, I don't know if he does. If he loses, he loses. Like I don't know of how much it, like, you know, like when you see guys like Urban or Kirby or Nick or Kelly or, I mean, even young coaches like Freeman or Riley, they take that shit highly personally. And I don't know if Deion does. I legitimately don't. And the chaos that has been surrounded that team, along with what they produce defensively, Joe, this is the part that we have talked about the most is if this were any other team, if this were any other quarterback, the things that have happened there would not be allowed. Shedeur Sanders' comments about a former teammate is unacceptable. And if this happened anywhere else to any other team, anywhere. Joe, again, we legitimately have people freaking out about a kid at Georgia that accidentally went the wrong way and got a summons, an arrestable summons that he's got to go to court on. We made that a bigger deal because of an accident, which when you get in a car crash, they're called accidents for a reason. Sorry. My intention is not to come out here and do anything wrong to hurt people majority of the time. Don't get finite with me. But you have a quarterback who not only was he literate in the way that he wrote, but also said a lot of crazy shit. And then you have national media members defending them. This is the part that I get pissed off at the most. I'm going to compare these two things, and you're going to hate me for it. I just don't understand how this national media and fan base as college football can get to a place where we back Tennessee, we run at Billy Napier saying he's wrong. By the way, came out with a comment. By the way, wasn't reported.
All right, stick on Colorado. We're going down a rabbit hole.
Coming back to it.
Okay.
The injunction is now questionable in court from Jaden Rashada. Okay. Nobody fucking reported it. However, we're going to talk about Colorado being a really good team that can make a playoff. With what defense?
It is in another universe. It is in a completely different fantasy land that there's an expectation that this team.
Okay, thank you for saying the words that I was trying to say. It's in a different category in universe. It's bizarre. You know what? People like us get ridiculed for being clickbaity. That's got to be the most clickbaity thing that we have heard from a host of a show all off season.
Yeah, BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.